So today we have voted to maintain bank rate at 5.25%. Monetary policy remains restrictive. Let me be clear. There is absolutely no room for complacency. Inflation is still too high. We will keep interest rates high enough for long enough to make sure we get inflation all the way back to the 2% target. We will be watching closely to see if further increases in interest rates are needed. But even if they are not needed, it is much too early to be thinking about rate cuts. I'm first going to talk about inflation over the coming months, and then I will turn to the outlook for the economy and inflation further ahead, and what that means for monetary policy. So to start with the near-term outlook for inflation. Chart 1, which has just come up from today's report, shows consumer price inflation and its components since 2019. It shows how inflation has continued to fall since our previous report in August. Much as we expected, inflation took a step down in the data for July, published 2 weeks after the August report. And as you can see in our near-term projection, shown in the shaded area, we expect inflation to take another larger step down in October's data, when it is published in 2 weeks' time. From 6.7% in September, we think it will probably fall to just below 5%. And we then expect it to remain around that level for the rest of the year. The dark orange bars in this chart show that this fall is driven in large part by energy prices, but gradually falling inflation for food and other goods will help too, as shown by the narrowing purple and blue bars. Ofgem's price cap means that we can be confident about the contribution from household energy bills to lower inflation over the coming months. But any projection is uncertain. There are upside risks to inflation from energy prices following the tragic events in the Middle East. And there remains uncertainty about the time it will take other non-energy components of inflation to come down as well. Chart 2 shows the evolution of our near-term inflation projections and compares them with the outturns in the data. The blue line is actual inflation. The stalks are our near-term forecasts from successive monetary policy reports in different colours from November last year. As you can see, the data have come in broadly in line with our near-term projections over the last year. But in the past few months, inflation outturns have come in somewhat lower than we had expected. And we now project inflation to be a little lower over the remainder of the year than we did in August. Most of the downside news since August reflects lower core goods price inflation. The food inflation has also come down a little faster than we expected. While services inflation is also slightly lower than we expected in August, it remains elevated, and it now contributes more to overall inflation than the prices of energy, food, and other goods. It's important that services inflation falls steadily over the next year. And to achieve that, we need to see an easing of underlying cost pressures in the UK economy.